Hi guys, welcome to my December Not Quite Daily album walkthrough. I finished this one up this morning. I filmed one last process video which I'll link up here because I ran out of page protectors, but now I'm done. I filled in all of those little purple post-its, all the missing gaps in my album, so it is totally finished. Now I think one of the things I love about it being a not quite daily album is I'm like purely focused on just Christmassy stories. I'm not worried about everyday life because that gets taken care of in my Project Life album. And as you can see, this thing is still a chunky beast. Like, I'm not doing a story every day, but I haven't counted how many stories are actually in here. But as you can see, my album is so big, I had to get bigger rings for it, so I've lost my pretty black ones. I'm either going to take these rings out and maybe spray paint them black, or I will have to try and get a hold of some black rings because I much prefer the black over silver, but my album simply could not hold with those black rings anymore. So let me give you a quick look through it. As you'll know, most of these pages in here have process videos. Some of them don't, but most of them do. So if you want a closer look at anything, I will link the December Not Quite Daily playlist up here, and that will have all of these process videos on them. So certainly my title page had one, and I'm glad I put those little foam squares in there. This album has been like squished, but I still have a nice amount of dimension in here on the little bow, so I'm super pleased that I did stop and stick those foam pads under there. And again, my intentions, which I think I fulfilled. I think I fulfilled everything I had intended to do in December, and that's another reason I do these albums, because it was going to be a busy December for me work-wise. I knew that. I knew I was going to be pushed for time, and I knew that if I wanted joy and magic in my life for December, I was going to have to make it, and that's what I did. So I'm pleased that I carried on with this album even though I knew it was going to be a stretch, and I'm super happy with not just how my album turned out, but how December turned out. It was exactly how I wanted it to be, maybe minus the extraordinary long work hours, but still, you get these things. Some of these don't have process videos. For instance, a lot of these sort of fillery pages. This is just a cut file from Kerry Bradford that I backed. And I did it twice so that I could have this double-sided sort of filler page here, which I really loved. This collection is the Snow and Cocoa, I think, and I love these pretty colors so much. This is just one of these simple ones that I didn't have a process video for. I printed a 6x8 photo on two 4x6 photo sizes so that I could split it into this pocket that I already had, and just run a tiny little bit of journaling, and I cut off this part of an LE Studio journaling card to add that on there. Now there was a process video for this one. Poor little Lil shoved into a Santa suit. I only did it the once, and you can see from her face she wasn't that happy about it. And there are lots of photos of my tree in this album because I bought a new tree this year, a white one, and some new lights for it too, actually, which, as you can see, they come off pastel-y in the photographs. They're not pastel-y in real life. They're sort of bright, vivid colors, but I super love my new tree, so that will be making a reappearance next year. Finished drinking all the coffee this year. I'm back on regular coffee now, but there's always a coffee page in my album. Here's one that didn't have a process video. I had an advent calendar this year I bought for myself because I decided I needed a treat. So I just took a photo of the actual box, the actual advent calendar part. I did some journaling on a little citrus twist journal card. It was not even remotely December related. This was one of the packing cards actually, and on the back it had this, the details are all right here card, and I thought that suited it perfectly. And this little card here, I had shown in my videos that I had made a transparency card that I had stuck these little tags on either side, and I never ended up using that, so I decided to pull it apart. I pulled that apart and just stuck it onto white card just because I thought the colors matched really nicely. And then these little ribbons I've just attached with a tiny attacher, but they're actually from the box. So I did use a little bit of ephemera. I didn't want to cut apart the box in any way. As you can see, my album was already quite full. This is one of the pages that I filled in this morning, so I had gone back to fill in an empty page protector, so I didn't want to stick another piece of ephemera in here. So this is just a tiny way of actually keeping something of the actual object in here. Here's another one with the no process video. This is an alpha from Cali Stamps. It's available in the shop right now. It looks beautiful with the gold ink on a dark photo. This is just a 6x8 photo that I printed. Again, I just print my 6x8 photos unless I want an entire photo. I just print them on two 6x4s, and then I've chopped it into these little 2x2 squares, slipped them in the pocket, stamped on my words, and added a few little gold chipboard stars, and that's it. That's that page done. On the back, I just, let me see if I can shuffle this ring around so I don't keep getting this issue. On the back of this page protector, I had taken some photos of my decorating for Instagram, so I literally just printed out the little Instagram photos and then filled in the rest with just some scrap paper. I think most of those are from that Snow and Cocoa line again, just in those pretty pink colors to fill in the page. And then I used an alpha to just spell out home. I guess it's, you know, it isn't actually home. This is like just my office, but I guess that's my home. I spent most of December in here, so that is definitely a big part of my home. This was one of the first pages that I did. It wasn't actually even in December. It was at the end of November, but I still stick it into my album here, my Nutcracker. There's, again, this is a process video, so it's easy to go back and have a look at that one. And then on the back, I filled this in with some pictures of, I don't know if you call it an advent calendar. There was no surprise. It was just a little reindeer that had numbers on it that we both, me and Shane, and you'll know Shane's not a big fan of Christmas, but he actually also really enjoyed this. He'll claim that he used it more as a countdown to the holidays, but I think we both enjoyed this. There's one little error in here. It was a fairly cheap little calendar that we bought, and I must have started too early. I think you're supposed to start at day 30. I started at like 39, and we ran into an issue along the way that there were no double threes, so I had to make a little piece of paper to slip in there. Now this is just a little bit of hidden journaling. Something happened at the start of December that I was really excited about, but didn't necessarily want to be public. So I've just added a little envelope. It can be opened. I added this ephemera to make a little tuck-in flap, and I added my journaling in there. There's no photo or anything, just my journaling. But that way it's there. I know it's there. I can remember it. And other than that, it just looks like a bit of a filler page. Lots of these are sort of filler pages. They were just sort of Christmassy photos that I took that I wanted to put in here because I know they're not going in Project Life or anything else. So there's no journaling or anything. These are little cards that I had made myself with some of the Cali Stamps Christmas stamps. The colors worked perfectly, so I just slipped them in and called that page done, which was just to fill in the back of my Christmas tree page. So there's definitely a process video for this one. This is one of my favorite spreads in the whole album, and I think it's because of the colors. I love that pink and purple, totally non-traditional Christmas colors, but I really love it. I think it really shows off the new tree and just the difference in color that I've got this year. So I'm super pleased with that. And that gold foil vinyl is just stunning. I love it. Definitely going to be using that a lot more this year. Now this is, I think it's an Ali Studio cut file that I cut out of just white card, and I used it as a stencil with some modeling paste. But once I had done that and pulled this actual stencil piece off, I really loved it as well. It's going to be really hard to show you the texture. Let me have a look. You can see the awesome texture I got on there. So I pulled it off in one piece, so I let it dry and then just backed it with just a piece of pattern paper. But I really loved it. So you'll see the other piece in here as well. But this one I just created. There are a few of these sort of full page, I guess, sort of mini layouts in here. Not particularly Christmas related, but we got our first bowl of strawberries from my strawberry patch, which to me says summer, and summer says Christmas and December here. So this was a little mini page that I had just done to fill in the back of my tree page. This is a gorgeous stitched piece that the wonderful Mel sent me, a little Christmas gift, and this is just stunning, although I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to keep this in here because it is way too nice to be shoved into an album and put on a shelf. So I'm thinking I might replace this with something else and actually pull this out and frame it for my wall, because it's got to be a life motto for me, doesn't it? Drink coffee, make stuff. Definitely. And I just added her card and she sent me some coffee, so I added those onto the back there. This is another one of those Kerry Bradford cut files, and again I did the same thing. I had to do the Bah Humbug one, I always do, because Mr. Grinch face here, it's definitely says Shane. There was a process video for this one too. I just didn't show that I added this pom-pom trim to the side of it. And I haven't added a lot of pom-pom trim in this year, but the little pieces that I have, I really love. So here's the other half of this transparency card that I was saying I pulled it apart. So I had that other tag on this side, and I had just managed to peel it off because it's on the acetate. It was easy to peel off, so I just slipped this one in. It's nice with the red card backing it because you get that little bit of color even though it's not a transparent pocket, but you do get the texture from the transparency because I embossed it. So that's really worked out quite nicely. This was just, I guess it's a bit of inception, isn't it? This was a photo of my December daily mess, now in my December daily album, with just a currently card from Ellie's studio. Again, it wasn't anything sort of particularly Christmas related, just a page to fill in the back of this page protector, but I quite like that I've got these little details down here, plus a photo of the almost constant December daily mess that was on my desk. This was a printable from Tracy Reed, and it's I think the actual size of the printable was a 4x6 card, and I blew it up to 6x8 in Photoshop, and then I actually printed it twice, and then I used the second print as a template to cut out this gold glitter paper to add a little bit of glitter to Santa's belt. And then I just added it's not quite 6x8, so I couldn't put it in a page protector. That's why I did this sort of card backing for it of our photo with Santa, and I added a little tag up here which just slips in and out of the pocket. Obviously not that easily, it's a little bit stuck in there, but there's no journaling on there. It's just a Dear Santa Divine Good stamp from Kelly Stamps. My Pixieland, Pixie Town page, sorry, I still love this wee shaker pocket. Shaker embellishment, I have no idea what these are called. And Pixie Town pages, and then my cookie pages. We did have some really good cookies this December, so it was nice to get those documented in there. And that I managed to use the Stop Cookie Time page because I do love a pun. Friendmas was definitely a process video with these really gorgeous Kelly stamps, alpha stamps again, and a double-sided page, because when something works, there's no reason you can't do it more than once. So I loved the way this page turned out. I replicated it somewhat on this page, and I love it. It works. When you find something that looks good to you, there's no reason you can't repeat that again and again throughout your album. In fact, it probably even helps add a little bit of consistency. This was one of the pages I finished this morning. I had run out of pocket pages, as I said. I will say one thing. I used these Echo Park pocket pages because I had bought an album and decided not to use it in the end. And they are really cloudy. I really don't recommend them at all. They're super cloudy. They're hard to photograph. Probably in real life for my album it's not a big deal, but as far as videoing for you guys and photographing for Instagram and stuff, they're very cloudy. I hope they don't get any cloudier, but yeah, not my favorite I've ever used. So this was a full page that I fused down here and added my 3x4 photos into. These are die cuts from the Merry Days collection, and it actually says Noel, but I just cut the little end off the N and I used it as love because I think that worked much better, and this was just a photo about summer fruit, so Noel didn't really work properly. My dad came to visit us for Christmas and bought me all sorts of fruit from Central Otago, which is definitely my kind of gift. So I fused down the middle, added my photos, and of course you have to work on both sides. So I was working on this side of the page protector as well. It's just a 4x6 photo that I split and put in, and then I could fuse across the middle and then add my last two 3x4 spots in there. So I haven't fused the top of this one. I did fuse the top of the other one that I made, but this one, they sit far enough down that I didn't need to fuse the top. Another simple page. This is when I'm getting to the end of the month. The pages get more and more simple, and I'm totally okay with that. All of the fancy stuff seems to happen at the front of the album. This is mostly just me trying to get the album done. As much as I love this project, by about the 26th, 27th, which was today, I'm ready to be done. I'm ready to pack my stuff away and start working on something different. So the pages definitely get more simple. These are just little cards from Ellie Studio, Merry Days ephemera piece, and some alpha stickers, and that's about it. I did fill in the last two spots on my watching page. We watched Fred Claus, and then on Christmas Eve, Home Alone was on, and I forced Shane to watch that, so that had to go on there. And here's the other piece, the piece that I actually used the stencil. So this is a piece of the Merry Days 6x8 pad, and I used that other page as the stencil. And let me see if I can pick up this whopper to show you here how well that stencil worked. And that was just a regular piece of cardstock that I just scraped that, I think it's called modeling paste through for a nice photo of my dad eating pancakes on Christmas morning. So I really love the texture that this page had. I love the color, and it goes nicely with the simple page on the other side, which is just some, just a Ellie Studio card and some stickers and a photo that I had taken. And same for this page. This was Christmas dinner. Again, just simple. One photo, one card, and some stickers. That was all it needed, all I wanted to do. And here was the last page, the last process video I did yesterday. Another double-sided one. This one slightly fancier with the pocket for the sequins in there. And my last page in my album is an envelope that I had made and hand-stitched with a Feed Your Craft and Brandy KK digital stamp. And that is holding all of my Christmas cards, which I did end up with more than I thought I would. So it is quite chunky and does add to the bulk of the album. But that's it. That's my December Not Quite Daily. And as you can see, there's definitely enough stories it could have been daily. But I don't need to put that pressure on myself. Some days I do more than one, some days I do none, but you can see I still end up with a full album. I still end up with a full album anyway, because I am intentionally creating Christmas stories, helping myself feel that magic through the month, and still creating a really beautiful album without the pressure of having to do something, having to find a story every single day. So I guess my biggest takeaway for you would be, for this project, any project really, is there are no shoulds, there are no musts. Make it work for you, make it work for your life. If you don't feel like you're going to have a story every day in December, then don't worry about doing a story every day in December. Just document the stories that you do have, and you'll still end up with a beautiful album at the end of it, but you won't feel all the pressure that you thought you were going to feel to get it all done. So thank you for watching, guys. Thank you for all your support and lovely comments during December on all the process videos. I hope you found some inspiration. I hope you found some magic. I hope you found some joy in December, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.